Hey guys, do you know that feeling when you get to the end of the sales call, then you've pitched your product or service, and then you're waiting for the prospect to have this reaction, like you're hoping he will buy at that point, but oftentimes then they have objections that come up like, let me think about it, or let me get back to you, let me send you an email, we discuss it with my partner, it's too much money, things like that, right? I want to talk with you today about how you can prevent that. So I want to teach you about objection handling, but I also want to more generally also talk about just how you can negotiate past certain objections. So I'm talking about this because recently this is something that I've been practicing a lot in my calls, and I find that often when prospects give you a certain objection, it will often be in the form of like, hey, maybe it sounds like a little bit interesting, but I kind of need to go, or they'll always give you that feeling that they just want to leave the meeting in some way. And often that is because they feel uncomfortable, and the reason they feel uncomfortable is because most of the time there is some thoughts in their mind. They're thinking about your product or service, and they're thinking well, maybe there are some good things about it, but I'm not really sure about it, and I just want to leave. The reason they feel that they just want to leave is because they feel that they might not be able to share their thoughts with you without being judged. And oftentimes, if you're aware of that, you can calibrate to the way they're feeling. So you kind of need to adjust your tonality to that and the way you react to that. But then also you need to ask good questions of what do you feel? Do you feel like there's any good things about the product, or what good things? If they say well, this might work, then you ask them why. You ask them some positive things, and it's a process of just calibrating to the way they feel. That's very important. But on the other hand, there's also a logical, rational discussion you need to have with them, because they're also objections. Usually they are a bit of the logical side, and they're also a bit of the emotional side. Sometimes some objections are more logical, some objections are more emotional, but you can't just work on one level. If you just work on the emotional level, they will be well, you're making me feel good, but you're not really addressing the issues that I'm bringing up. So that's why you do need to address what they actually bring up. If they say it's the price, or if they say it's the partner, there comes a point where you do need to discuss that with them. And on the other hand, if you're just talking about the logistics, just talking about the facts, but you're not talking about that in a way where you make them feel comfortable, then they're not gonna like that either. So there's always a balance you need to have, right? So that's that. Now I found in a recent sales call that I had that there is a way that you can go about that. That's interesting, because I was talking with my prospect and there was always several objections he had. At one point he had said well, I actually kind of want to leave the meeting. He hadn't said that, but he made that clear in his tone. But then he also explained the reasons why he thought that maybe it would not be a good fit for that. So then the way I replied to that was hey, I understand that there are some things that that you feel like you might want to leave right now, but I also listened to you, and you told me that, well, you told me that you did work with that partner before, and then there were some things that happened there. But do you believe that if there was a different circumstance, that perhaps you'd have seen a different result? And of course, I'm being abstract here, but that's kind of the way you need to go, not abstract, but that is like the formation you need to have. You need to listen to their situation and the reasons that they are doubtful, or the reasons why they could work. And then you kind of need to ask them questions about that to guide them more into their own thinking, and to set the right standards with them about how they need to behave if they want to reach their goal, or how they need to think and act if they want to reach the goals that they have. These are things that you need to talk about. But it's always a thing where if you want to do the objections, then you always need to listen to where they are coming from, right? So if they are coming from a place where what I'm trying to say is, don't panic when they bring something up, because then if you do that, you will just end the meeting. But if you can actually do some thinking about what they said, and you can calibrate to the way they feel, and you handle just the things they bring up, then you can often like really work something. I'm not saying you're necessarily going to close the deal, but you're going to get a lot of progress from it. So these are kind of my thoughts on that. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you learned something. But yeah, let me know if you have any comments, ideas, and I will see you guys in my next video. So cheers, see you.